Welcome back, everyone. This week's highlights are from New Comic Book Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022, and the spotlight of the month, 10 Lives of Wolverine, Issue 2. This one was really cool. It went through three different time periods in Logan's life: the 1900s, his time in Japan while he was married, and during the Weapon X program, right before, well, I guess it's right before the Weapon X program. But in this one, it's between each story, Wolverine starts to get the idea that he can do things a little bit more his way in the timeline. Throughout the entire issue, Jean Grey is acting as his conscience, trying to convince Logan that he needs to continue the course, but there's some changes that he wants to do, despite what it might do to the present timeline. So sticking with the X books, another one that came out this week was Sabretooth, #1. So those of you who know X-Men and know Wolverine would also know Sabretooth, his #1 adversary. Now, during the House of X and Powers of X storyline, Sabretooth was recovered. Well, first he was reincarnated, and on a mission in the US, he was left behind by accident. And Emma Frost had recovered him from that and put him to their own trials on the island of Krakoa. One of the main things, or one of the main rules on their island is no mutant is allowed to kill humans. Now, Sabretooth has killed plenty of humans, and in issue 6 of House of X, they sentence him to exile. First mutant to be sent to exile, and he is dragged down into this pit within inside Krakoa to spend the rest of his days. And that's where he's been since. Now, 3 years later, he's getting his own issue. This one's pretty cool. It seems to be what is happening to him in the pit. It starts off with Sabretooth recapping his exile and his perspective. And next thing you know, he's out and about, doing his own Sabretooth thing, getting revenge. But it's not everything is all it seems, and it's really neat because it kind of shows that this pit that he's in is something like purgatory, or hell even. And because of the X theme, this week for Amazing Spider-Man 88, they had a variant cover with Gwen Stacy as Jean Grey. Now, from what I understand, sometime soon there's supposed to be a Gwen-verse type thing coming out, and I'm not sure if it's specifically an X-Men thing or just very different Gwens, but from the images I see, there's, at least for this month, each week there's going to be at least one variant cover with, what's her name? Gwen Stacy, sorry, I was about to call her Jean Grey, with Gwen Stacy as a different member of the X-Men. And this week we have a lot of Marvel issues. I got a couple more going on. Now this is Savage Spider-Man. This one's pretty cool. This is a variant cover done by Mark Bagley. And Mark Bagley is probably, next to John Romita Jr., the artist I think of when I think of Spider-Man. Like, if I think of Spider-Man, it's either Romita Jr. or Bagley, because when I first started reading ASM, Romita Jr. was doing that, and Ultimate Spider-Man's original artist was Mark Bagley, up until it became Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. So I really love this cover. It's neat. This is basically a continuation of a storyline called Non-Stop Spider-Man, which is really cool. Definitely check it out. It's a real action-packed comic, and that's why it's called Non-Stop. The art in this is pretty neat, but essentially at the end of Non-Stop Spider-Man, Peter Parker is injected with the A plus drug, which is a performance enhancing drug that he's investigating in Nonstop, and now he's this monstrous version of himself, stuck on an island with Baron von Zemo that you saw right there. So real curious to see how this is gonna go. Let's see. Next issue is Star Wars Crimson Reign. Now this has been pretty cool. Crimson Reign is essentially shortly after the Empire comes into power. Kira from Crimson Dawn has gathered all the different syndicates and factions in the galaxy to create one ultimate force so they can essentially take over the Empire. Um, so yeah, this has been pretty neat. She's just trying to extend Maul's vision of the universe or the galaxy. And this cover especially I like because it is a connecting cover with last month's issue #1. And I am a sucker for connecting covers. Alright, final Marvel issue for the week is Alien #9. Now, Marvel acquired Alien not too long ago. Actually, sorry, go back. So, not too long ago, both Alien and Star Wars were both under Dark Horse Comics. Ever since the licensing has been up, and now that Marvel's owned by Disney, they've kind of been grabbing at all these other titles. So, Star Wars is now Marvel, no longer Dark Horse, as well as Alien is now part of Marvel. Um, so this run's been really neat. It's done by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who's a really great writer. I've met him a few times. I've gotten this signed this week, actually. If um, later in the day on New Comic Book Wednesday, he was at my local comic shop, Third Eye Comics, doing some signings. And this issue just happened to came out that day, which made it especially perfect. But this is a really awesome cover. The art in it is fantastic, very gruesome. Essentially, in this story, it takes place on a settlement on the moon, and the xenomorphs have broken out and have caused an infestation. It's really neat. There's an element of some religious following, which I find really interesting. It's cool. Definitely check it out. Something else that I got signed yesterday by Philip Kennedy Johnson was this Action Comics Superman 1039. This didn't come out this week. This was actually from the 25th of January. But I didn't notice it then, and I saw it on his table, so I got it. This one's fantastic. I am not a big Superman fan, but this was a really cool story. Basically, Superman is stuck on the war world and he has to compete as a gladiator. So it's essentially like the movie Gladiator but with Superman. And the art and colors in this are just breathtaking. The planet that Superman is on has a red sun, so all his special powers as Superman are not there. So he has like the same advantage as everyone else. I want to skip over here to show you these wonderful colors and not these ads. There we go. Yeah, this has been a really cool read, and I definitely want to go back and get the next, or the previous issues. Really excited to see where this is going to go. And it was cool meeting the writer. With that Alien comic, he was telling me how excited he is for the next issue to, after 9. Anyway, so that ends our run of Marvel. We have this new one by AWA Upshot called Primos. This is written by Al Margigol, who is an American comedian, actually, with Mexican backgrounds. And he has been working on this for a couple years, trying to help bring out more Mexican Americans or Latinos into the superhero community. And this is really cool. It starts with this little boy who I guess is destined by his ancestors to help unite the world for a century-old Mayan. I don't want to say tradition, prophecy, I guess. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's definitely pretty heavy read halfway through it, but it's really neat. And my last two issues of the week are both from Image Comics. Now, just take a moment, appreciate that beautiful cover there. So Nocterra, this is number 7. Nocterra is one of my favorite issues, and actually I saved the best for last. So these two issues coming up are some of my favorite ones this year. Nocterra has been real cool. Basically, the sun had been blocked out, or there's been a darkness that uncovered the land. And within the darkness, all these creatures, or all the animals on the world, have turned into these dark versions of themselves. And over time, they've crossbred to make the worst types of monsters. They're called shades, and there are human shades as well. Let me see. I want you to see what these shades look like. Well, got a little rat possum thing stuck on there. Yeah, there we go. So these monsters basically run the world, and the humans try to keep whatever bits of society they can. They just have to stay lit. Once you're not lit, you get turned into these shades. The first arc was real cool. It features Val, who was blind early childhood, and I think like the day she gained sight was the day it became dark. Um, and throughout the first arc, there's this character, Blacktop Bill, who they haven't necessarily explained yet what makes his skin that way, but he's completely a silhouette, and he is one badass dude. Um, so in this new arc, it is in the perspective of a character we pick up along the way in the previous one. She goes by the name Piper, and together they're still trying to look for more survivors and decide that they need to put their targets on Blacktop Bill. Now the final one of the week, Equilands. Now, this is a real cool cover. Before I flip it around, this is actually not the correct. What is it? This is a horizontal book, unlike how all the other ones are vertical. But I just want to focus on this cover here. It's real neat with all the hands coming on there. So Echolands has been a real nice treat. The main character stole a gem from their world's tyrant, the wizard, that he's referred to a lot of the time. And he's basically just on the run, her and her friends. And what I absolutely love about this, which I hope you can grasp in this spread here, every character who's from a different region has a different art style. And it's real cool because there are certain moments where there's just like a collage of all different types of people and objects and things, and it's just real neat to see all the different art styles done by the same artists. Who, let's see. Yeah, writer and artist J.H. Williams III. Yeah, this is mind blowing. Definitely pick this up, especially once the trade comes out. I'm not sure how much longer this is gonna go. It's at 6 now, but it hasn't ended yet, and I kind of don't want it to end. It's fantastic. Well, everyone, that's all I have for you this week. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep on reading.